So, Jim, we're talking about Royal Rumble 94 here. I guess we should mention the most recent pay per view prior to that was Survivor Series 93. And that show wound up being the second pay per view for Radio WWF. Can you tell us about this radio venture? I know you were a big part of it. What did this entail and what was required to produce that? And how did you generate revenue from it? Just lay out the business plan for us.
Well, as far as I was concerned, the business plan was to get it on the air. We had a staff that was going to take care of the production, sailing of the time, all that good stuff. So I was not involved in any of that, thank God. You don't need me screwing up any more than I normally do. But it was decided that it would be Gorilla Monsoon and myself doing the call, and so that's kind of the Gorilla and I sit and talk. We always dress in the same locker room. We talked, about it and just the difference between doing the theater of the mind, i.e., radio,
Right.
and TV is significant. So, and of course, Gorilla being a sports fan and a smart man, and I said this before, I've never met a nicer man in wrestling than Gorilla Monsoon. He was like a father to me. My wrestling father was the Big Ape, and he was so nice to me, and he taught me so much just about the culture of WWE, if nothing else. So Vince liked the idea. As so many things in WWE went at that time and until recently, if Vince liked the idea, more than likely it got tried. And so everybody was willing to give it a shot. And then the creative guys, Vince, Patterson, and Bruce, and all these other cats, they figured out, well, we'll have these guys do the radio broadcast. We'll have them come in and do a match. I think we did one match. I'm not sure. And roll from there. So it was just an idea to continue to build the brand of WWE and utilize that medium, radio. And it seemed like, it was talk radio was getting to be very popular, and Howard Stern was killing it, and all these things. So it was proven that if you had good and compelling talk radio, that you could make this thing go. Or at least that was a thought. And so that's where that come from, Conrad. Just an idea I had. I casually pitched it to Vince, and he loved it.
Well, not only did he love it, he went for it. And you guys did Radio WWF here for this very event. So if you can't get enough Royal Rumble 94, or if this is one of those first events you saw in your fandom and you want to relive it, let's recommend you go check out our YouTube channel, Grilling JR on YouTube. We actually have your Radio WWF call, which would be, man, look at that graphic right there. That's a handsome fellow. Grilling JR on YouTube.com. We've got the 1994 Royal Rumble WWF radio broadcast, including the Owen angle, the Owen promo, and so much more. Go check it out. You won't find it anywhere else. It's Grilling JR on YouTube.com. Let's talk about how we got here. I guess we'll pick things up from, say, Survivor Series 93 and get us over to the Royal Rumble. November of 93 was really a month of changes here in the organization. Joe Fowler left the company. He had been hosting the face-to-face localized house show promo segments on each syndicated show for all the different markets. He was essentially filling in for Mean Gene once Mean Gene left in September. And it's been written that Mean Gene absolutely hated doing these, and is one of the reasons he was not too sad to see this run with the WWF come to an end.
Yeah.
What do you remember about Mean Gene and the local promos? And what do you remember about Joe Fowler and his cup of coffee here?
Joe Fowler was very skilled. He's still doing infomercials on television. I see him every now and then when I'm up late, channel surfing. You'll run across old Joe. He didn't look like that pitcher. He's gained a lot of weight, but he's very good at what he does. But here's was his downfall. If I can get it out, unlike me just then, Joe didn't have a lot of product knowledge. So sometimes when you don't have a lot of product knowledge, you use the wrong adjectives. And we were on such a time crunch because of the volume of work that we had to do. That was a major production to do those inserts. Huge. I never knew that Gene, but Joe wasn't long for the world. He just, he was very introverted, seemingly. Very nice guy. Very nice guy. I remember riding with him from Providence back to Connecticut, and praying for a place, Roy Rogers or something to get something to eat. The exotic life of a pro wrestling announcer. So, and Joe did the drive, and so we got to know each other decently. But he was a nice guy. I never knew how much disdain that Mean Gene had for those segments. Until he expressed it to me, he hated it. And one of the reasons that Gene hated it was because of the lack of professionalism by the talents.
I see.
You had to get everybody in the same spot. You had to have the opponents in the same location, basically, so you could do the cutaways. Well, here's what Conrad Thompson had to say about fighting Dave Silva,
right,
in a battle of the belts, whatever. So I got to have both of you guys there, and getting everybody on the same schedule, even though everybody knew we were doing them.
Right.
It wasn't a surprise. It was just a lack of professionalism. So,
and when Joe Fowler is leaving here, you pick up those duties, right? You started doing these.
Yeah, I did some. That's just a matter of being able to have more tools in your toolbox than you thought you'd ever need. I had no problem doing them. It gave me worth, and and I know this. The outtakes of those, some of those segments would be money.
Gold had to be. Yeah.
Hilarious. Talents forgetting the town they're going to. They forget who they're wrestling, and they got to look over across the way 6 or 8 feet, and there's their opponent. It was nuts. So, but it burned you out quickly. The volume was a killer. And unfortunately, all of our talents did not take it as seriously as I did. So you didn't want to get bogged down. Then somebody starts laughing. They can't stop laughing or whatever. So I understand Gene's plight. And, he lost his patience with this unprofessional conduct. And I got it. I got it firsthand.
Hey, it's Conrad Thompson here to tell you a little more about what adfreeshows.com is all about. Get early, ad-free access to more than a dozen of your favorite wrestling podcasts every single week, starting at just $9. That's less than 20 cents an episode each month. And yes, you can listen to them all directly through Apple Podcasts or your regular podcast apps. How easy is that? Ad-free shows also has thousands of hours worth of bonus content and docuseries like Title Chase, Eric Fires Back, Conversations with Conrad, and The Insiders. Plus new series like The Book with David Crockett, Monday Mailbags with Mike Chioda and Nick Patrick, and a whole lot more. And you want to talk about early? You can't get any earlier than listening to the shows live. You can be a part of the live studio audience as we record the podcast. Plus, ride shotgun alongside your favorite childhood heroes for live watch-alongs, Q&As, and other interactive experiences every single month. Come on now, see for yourself what thousands of other wrestling fans from around the world have discovered, that adfreeshows.com is the best value in wrestling. Check it out today, and hey, when you do, the first week is completely free. adfreeshows.com.